Alrighty guys, so today I am sharing my 1-month Peru travel itinerary with you. So for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Audrey, I'm a travel vlogger, and I am half Peruvian. I have spent a lot of time in Peru over the course of my life, and I have seen a lot of the country. So today I'm going to be sharing an itinerary that you can customize. You can use this as a 1-week, 2-week, 3-week, or 4-week itinerary if you've got a full month to cover the country. And this itinerary is going to be covering the coast, the Andes, the Amazon, and the Altiplano. So let's dive right in. So we're going to kick things off in Lima, the capital city, because this is where most international flights are arriving. So your first day in Lima is going to be pretty chill. I'm going to suggest you stay in the neighborhood of Miraflores because it's very tourist friendly and you've got a lot of tourist attractions within walking distance. So you're going to want to check out Parque del Amor, the Park of Love. It's very colorful. They have a lot of mosaics. It's along the coast and it has a beautiful cliff walk known as the Malecón. You'll also want to eat ceviche on your first day there. My favorite restaurant is Punto Azul, but you can go anywhere you want. And then maybe for sunset, you can check out the views from Larcomar. Larcomar is a shopping mall and commercial center built onto the cliff overlooking the ocean. You get beautiful sunsets over there, and there's a bit of a nice park and green area on top of the mall. Day 2 is going to be all about Peru's historic center. I would recommend you get on the double-decker sightseeing bus that's going to take you past some tourist attractions like Huacapuclana, and then you'll end up in the downtown core, the old part of the city. Here you can visit Plaza Mayor, which is the main square, the cathedral, and Convento de San Francisco, where you can go down into the catacombs. You're not allowed to take photos or film there, but it's a pretty neat attraction. There's a lot of history, and yeah, it's a really cool way to check out downtown. If you're not too tired and you're looking for something to do in the evening, you can do the Magic Circuit in Parque de la Reserva. This is a water show with lights in a park, so they have a whole bunch of different fountains and colored lights. So it's especially fun at night when things light up. Day 3 is going to be dedicated to the neighborhood of Barranco. Barranco is located just south of Miraflores, and it's another neighborhood along the coast. This neighborhood has more of a bohemian feel. It is very colorful. Picture brightly painted buildings, lots of street art, and it's just really charming and colonial and a nice place to walk around. If you're in the mood, you can do a food tour here. There are some really cool food tours that actually show you the preparation of Peruvian dishes, so you get to see how the food is made and then also eat it as well. On day 4, you're going to leave the city behind, goodbye Lima, and you're going to travel down to Paracas. You can take the Peru Hop bus, and Paracas is the jump-off point for exploring Islas Ballestas, which are often called the mini-Galapagos. You can see a lot of wildlife here, including Humboldt penguins, cormorants, sea lions, and apparently if you visit at the right time, you can also see humpback whales. I didn't get to see the whales, but I did see everything else. Day 5 is going to be for exploring Huacachina. Huacachina is an oasis in the middle of the desert. You've got this green lagoon surrounded by palm trees and this really small little village that has set up there. And the main thing to do there is to go on a buggy ride, a dune buggy ride. So once you arrive, you can book a driver, book a vehicle, and they will take you on the sand dunes. It can get pretty crazy, pretty bumpy, pretty wild, or you can ask the driver to take it easy. But yeah, it's a super cool attraction to check out, and you can also try sandboarding. It's a lot harder than it looks. If you can't stand up, you can slide down like you're tubing. Day 6 is going to be dedicated to Ica and Pisco, and what you're going to do is visit vineyards. The two things that are produced here are wine and pisco. Pisco is a grape brandy, and it is used as the base in a lot of cocktails like the pisco sour, chilcano, the buenazo, and numerous other drinks that you're gonna have during your time in Peru. So you can visit a lot of different bodegas, do some tastings, try wine, try pisco. If you're looking to stay at a wine hotel for the night, I would recommend Viñas Queirolo. I stayed there a few years ago and really loved it. Beautiful setting, and it's a colonial construction, so it's quite charming. Day 7 is going to be all about getting back to Lima. So that's probably going to take you about half the day to journey back up to the city. And then once you get there, you've still got half the day to explore. I would recommend that you maybe check out a museum. You can try the Larco Museum and also try Nikkei cuisine. Nikkei cuisine is a fusion between Japanese and Peruvian styles of cooking, and it is truly delicious. Lots of fish, lots of seafood. So definitely try it. And then you'll want to pack your bags. If you're only using this 1 week itinerary, then it's time to go home. But if you're staying in Peru a bit longer, we're going to kick off week 2 of this itinerary. So week 2 in Peru is going to be all about exploring Cusco, the Sacred Valley, and Machu Picchu. So day 8, you're going to want to take a flight from Lima to Cusco, and once you arrive, you are going to take it easy. Cusco is at a very high altitude. We're talking 3,400 meters, and your body is going to feel it. That means that you need to take it easy. So don't go running around the city on your first day. Check into your hotel, drink some coca tea, try to have a nap, eat light meals, and just take it easy. I'm telling you this because I have traveled with family who got quite ill, and I've also been on tours where I saw tourists just faint in front of me because they had just landed and they went a little too hard. So let's say that you have flown in the morning and you want to do a little bit of sightseeing in the afternoon. I would say keep it light and maybe just walk around Plaza de Armas, which is the main square. And if you want to shop for souvenirs, visit the San Pedro market and then just drink tea and chill, relax. The next day, we can go a bit harder. Day 9 in Cusco is going to be all about exploring some archaeological sites. So buy the 1-day boleto turístico. This is going to give you access to 4 different sites: Sacsayhuaman, Ginkgo, Pucapucara, and Tambo Machai. You can definitely visit these places on your own, but if you want to get a bit more of the history and the background information, then you can hire a guide to walk with you and teach you some things along the way. Day 10 is going to be all about exploring the Sacred Valley, and there are several destinations to visit. I would suggest joining a 1-day tour, a full day tour that is going to cover multiple sites like Moray, which are the circular terraces, Maras, where you have the salt pool terraces, Pisac, where you can visit Inca ruins and an artisanal market, Urubamba, where you typically have a lunch stop, and then the stunning town of Ollantaytambo. Here you have an Inca fortress and some large stone terraces as well. Now, this is the point of the tour where you can decide if you're going to stay in Ollantaytambo, spend the night, and then catch the train to Machu Picchu, technically Aguas Calientes, or if you're gonna go back to Cusco and do the journey from there. You can do it either way. So day 11 is going to be all about getting to Aguas Calientes. Aguas Calientes is the gateway town to Machu Picchu. That is where the train arrives. And like I mentioned, you can start that journey in Cusco or Ollantaytambo. When it comes to booking the journey, you can go with Peru Rail or Inca Rail. These are 2 train companies. They are competitors, but they share the railroad. They're going to be on the same track. It's going to be exactly the same journey, same scenery, so whichever is fine. If you're feeling a bit adventurous, you can even book the 1-day trek to Machu Picchu, which I have done before. You're gonna get on the train, and the train is going to stop in the middle of nowhere, it'll seem, and you're going to get off with your guide and begin the trek to Machu Picchu. It is challenging, but honestly, it was one of the highlights of my trip to this corner of Peru. So if you want to do a 1-day trek, that is certainly possible. You're going to get to see some really cool ruins along the way. My favorite was Huayna, and just picture Machu Picchu without the crowds. Like, you're gonna get to see epic terraces and not a soul there except for a handful of hikers. So that's definitely something that you can consider. Day 12 is going to be all about exploring Machu Picchu. You are going to have to take a 20-minute shuttle from the town of Aguas Calientes up to the ruins. Some people choose to hike, but honestly, it is like super steep. It is very challenging. It would be really tiring. And I think you should be saving your energy to actually walk around the ruins and enjoy Machu Picchu. If you're trying to save money, you can walk there, but I would just say pay for the 20-minute shuttle. Now, a lot of rules have changed when it comes to visiting Machu Picchu. So nowadays you need to pre-book your ticket and you need to select which circuit you want to do. There are 3 circuits to choose from. Then you have to select the route you're going to walk and also the admission time. So this is to control the crowds at Machu Picchu. The new cap is 5,600 people during high season and 4,500 people the rest of the year. Day 13, you can either spend more time at Machu Picchu or explore the town of Aguas. So there's a really famous hike that you can do in Machu Picchu. It is called Huayna Picchu, but only 300 people are allowed to hike per day. This is done in 2 shifts. But I'm going to tell you, this is a pretty difficult and dangerous hike. If you don't like heights, you do not want to do this hike because you've basically just got an abyss. If you decide it's not worth the risk, then you can spend the day exploring the town of Aguas Calientes. There's plenty to see in Aguas Calientes. You can soak in the hot springs, you can visit the local market and shop for souvenirs. There's also a butterfly garden. So plenty of ways to stay busy if you don't feel like going back to Machu Picchu. Now, day 14 marks the end of your time here in Cusco and the Sacred Valley. So if you're only doing a 2-week itinerary, this is where the trip ends for you. But if you want to continue on to week 3 to the Amazon jungle, then this is where you would fly to Iquitos. Iquitos can only be reached by plane or by boat. There are no direct flights from Cusco. You need to backtrack and go via Lima. So you're going to be taking 2 flights on this day. Day 15 is all about exploring Iquitos and just kind of settling in. You're going to be experiencing a different climate. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. It's going to be a change from the Andes and the high altitude. So again, just take it easy. Give yourself some time to adjust. Once you're ready to go out exploring, you can walk along the Malecón, which is the riverside walk. There are lots of cafes here. You can also visit the Iron House. This was designed by Gustave Eiffel and it was assembled here in Peru. They shipped all the materials over. You can also check out the Belén Market, which is a village on stilts. Now, I will say this place is a bit of a maze. It's kind of easy to get lost in there if you get in really deep. So maybe visit with a local guide. It's also a good way to understand a bit more about this community and learn more of the history. Day 16 is all about beginning the journey into the jungle. Now, I would recommend doing a stay in the jungle. You can stay at a place called the Treehouse Lodge, where you are literally sleeping in a treehouse. And it's really fun. You either have to climb up via like a spiraling staircase or hanging bridges. So if you want some unique accommodations, check that out. When you stay at the Treehouse Lodge, you also get to go on some really cool excursions. You get to go on a medicinal walk. You go out on a boat looking for pink dolphins, and you also go fishing for piranhas. So it's a super fun experience. So for days 17, 18, 19, and 20, I would recommend joining a 4-day riverboat cruise through the Amazon jungle. It's just an epic way to experience the Amazon. And again, there are just so many different activities that you experience when you're on a riverboat cruise. We got to go kayaking. We did a canopy walk across hanging bridges. We visited local villages. We saw all sorts of wildlife, monkeys, pink dolphins, sloths. So yeah, again, a highlight of the trip. So if you can do that, do a cruise. Day 21 is going to mark the end of your visit in the jungle. If this is where your trip ends, you pack your bags, go back to Lima and head home. But if you want to tack on 1 more week, this is where you hop on 2 more flights and you fly down to Juliaca. This is going to be the gateway to the Altiplano. And then once you land in Juliaca, there's a bus called the Aero Expreso, which will bring you down to Puno. So day 22 is going to be all about settling into Puno and exploring the town. So some of the attractions that you can consider visiting include the Cathedral of Puno. Then you have Casa del Corregidor. This is an old yellow colonial house. It's really beautiful and it's got a cafe. You've also got the Malecón, where you can do a lakeside walk and watch the boats departing on tours, which you'll be doing the following day. And if you want to see some folkloric dance, you can go to a peña. There's a really famous place called Balcones de Puno, and you can see traditional dances is there, and it's kind of like a meal and a show type deal. Day 23, you are going to join a 2-day tour to visit the islands on Lake Titicaca. So the first day you're going to visit the islands of Uros and Amantani. Now, Uros is the most famous of the two. Obviously, these are the floating reed islands that you see on all the postcards and documentaries. So you're going to start the day off there, and you're going to get to actually set foot on one of the reed islands. You're going to be welcomed by a local family, and they're going to show you their way of life and invite you into their homes so you can see what it is like to live floating on a lake. The next island you're going to visit is not a reed island. This is a solid landmass in the middle of the lake. It is called Amantani, and this is where you're going to do your overnight homestay. Now, the communities here depend on tourism, so they tend to rotate which families get to welcome guests and host. So when we arrived in Amantani, we met some host families. We were given the option of whether we wanted something a bit more rustic or if we wanted something with more comforts like running water, flushing toilet. So we were given that choice through our tour operator. And then once you meet your family, you're going to go to the house. They're going to prepare a meal for you. And then in the evening, they're going to invite you to dress up in their traditional clothes. And they're going to take you to their community hall where they're going to play some music and try to teach you these folkloric dances. Yes, this is something that they definitely put on for tourists. But honestly, I think our host family had even more fun watching us putting on their traditional clothes because honestly, we looked a little bit ridiculous. I was sunburnt like a lobster. And well, here's a photo for your amusement. So day 24, you're going to continue with this 2-day boat tour of Lake Titicaca. And the next island that you're going to visit is called Taquile. Now, Taquile is known for their hand-woven textiles, particularly knitting. And what is interesting is that this is done by the men. It is not the women who knit, it is the men. That is their job in this community. So you're gonna get to visit the island, see their handiwork, and you'll also have a meal here before returning back to Puno. Now, day 25, you are going to travel from Puno to Arequipa. You can do so by bus, and this is a journey that can take between 5.5 to 6 hours. Once you arrive, you'll want to get settled into your hotel. And full disclosure here, this is the only destination that I have not yet visited, but it makes a lot of sense with this itinerary, which is why I am including Arequipa. I have tried to make it to Arequipa several times, but something always seems to come up. So I have done the research on it. I do have all the places pinned on my map, and I know exactly what day tours I would go on. So I'm going to talk you through that. So Arequipa is the second largest city in Peru. It is known as the White City, and a lot of the construction there is built from this white volcanic stone. So it is particularly known for its architecture. Now, day 25 is going to be all about settling into Arequipa and just visiting the attractions in the center of town. So this includes things like the Santa Catalina Monastery. Here you can visit the cloisters, chapels, see religious art. You can also check out the Santa Teresa Convent. Then you've got the San Camilo Market, which is a good option for breakfast or lunch, or even if you just want to stock up on local produce. And then you've also got the San Lázaro neighborhood, which is one of the oldest parts of the city. This is where you find the oldest houses in all of Arequipa. And you've got cobbled streets, and the homes are built from this white volcanic stone that I was mentioning. Arequipa is also home to the Misty volcano, which is in the background just behind the city. A very photogenic city overall. Day 27 is going to be a day trip to visit the Colca Canyon. The Colca Canyon is one of the deepest canyons in the whole world. It's 70 kilometers in length, and its depth ranges from 1,000 to 2,000 meters. This is also a great place to see condors, the Andean condor. Typically, people go on this day trip so that they can see these birds just like soaring above the canyon. On day 28, you're going to go on a half-day tour to visit the Sillar Quarry. These are the white stone quarries. So I was talking about white volcanic stone. This is the quarry where they get that stone from. There are some pretty cool engravings on the stone at the quarry, so it's a really nice photo opportunity. And as part of that tour, you also get to visit the Culebrillas Canyon. So that's day 28. That marks the end of your 4 weeks in Peru. So this is the point of the trip where you get on a bus or you get on a plane and you fly back to Lima. Now, this is only 28 days. It is 4 weeks. If you want to do a solid month of travel in Peru and you want to get to 30 or 31 days, you can certainly sprinkle in those 2 to 3 days in between to maybe have some rest days, because as you've seen, this itinerary is pretty go, go, go. There is lots to see, lots to do in Peru, but it is a beautiful country. I am sure you're going to have a wonderful time. So if you found this video helpful, I invite you to give it a like, leave me a comment, let me know where in Peru you are heading next, and also don't forget to subscribe. So thanks again for watching and wishing you a great time in Peru. Ta-ta!